Join me. Imagine what we could accomplish together.
I'll join the team, be an X-Man.
We are the future, Charles, not them.
What do you think, I'm stupid?
You and I are not so different.
You can't keep denying what you are, man.
Because I'm the best there is at what I do.
You, me, we're exceptional. The power of the sun in the palm of my hand. I chose my path, you chose the way of the hero.
Plague, war, famine, morality doesn't even enter into it.
I've heard these arguments before.
Think about it, hero!
You are watching Move, Move, Throw, a Marvel Crisis Protocol podcast. I am Charles, also known as Omnus, and I am here with Danny, a.k.a. Josh's husband. Danny, I miss you, buddy.
Yeah, I should also mention every once in a while that my name on the internet is Irish Smart Like Rock, so please rush it out whenever you can.
There's the guy who's been getting constant messages this week.
Hey, everyone, first off, please in Vishanti and Convocation, but secondarily, we're getting geared up for GrogCon, right? GrogCon's coming up pretty soon here. We're a little month and a half away? A little less than that now? So we're gearing up. We're getting close. So now is the time to talk about lists. What are we doing? How we're preparing? How do we think about, right? Like, what are we to do? And on top of that, what new things are coming out lately? What are we doing, right?
We were having some stuff for sure.
So spicy.
Anyway, before we get into all of the Marvel Crisis Protocol banter, I was thinking about our warm-up topic last week and how much fun people had with it. Vodka Blitz was on board with being our villain, which is great.
Yes,
Nigel was on board with being our police captain, that we're giving him an ulcer. And so that was fun. But then it got just me thinking about like how we would fit into like a weird television program. And so then I started thinking about what our generic sitcom would be like. Where would we be like working at a microbrewery? Would we be game store employees? Would it be like a comic book shop like Jay and Silent Bob's? If you just immediately right now could just take us and like stick us in some sort of sitcom setting, what would be your setting?
Well, like my brain, this is not great. My brain defaults the mall cop, right? Like just immediately defaults the mall cop scenario, and it goes like, okay, like we're going, like, are we going for this? It's like, no, but we can't do it. We can't actually go with that, right? Is the problem?
What if we just both worked in the mall, like in general somewhere? It was one of those things, kind of.
Oh, what if we had like
clerks?
Day jobs, like in the mall, but we were in nighttime security, right? Like, okay, there we go. We have like the A plot and B plot, but we're both A and B plots, right? Really good.
Okay, yeah. So what store would you work in the mall?
Ooh, what store? I mean, what store even exists in the mall anymore? I feel like there's some sort of fragrance store that would be
you would. I could definitely see that. I didn't think that was not on my radar, but I think that you would vibe with like, this is the right scent for you, Julie.
Yeah, I am glad I can always surprise you. That's what matters.
Yeah. I believe in you.
So wait, where are you in the mall?
That is a great question. Okay. Obviously, I think that I would end up being in one of those. I forget the names of the stores, but not quite like a party store, but the ones that have like all of the generic pop culture stuff.
Yes.
What's the one called, like Lunchbox or something like that? What's the?
Oh, I haven't actually been inside of a place in a long time. But yeah, I get like the general vibe you're going for here.
Yeah.
Like lots of things for us to go in, especially great for tourists, right?
Yes. I mean, obviously you could pick something like comic book store or something like that, but I feel like that's too easy.
It's like way too on the nose, right?
Right. You know, there's not much that's like pure video or, you know, a music store anymore. That kind of stuff is really not there. Oh, know what I should do? I should be in that high-end, like, sneaker store, like the collector's sneakers.
Yes.
That would
be... Boutique store.
Yeah, you know. Okay, yeah, I think that's what I would go with. I would be super down for that. I'd love to talk to people about high-end sneakers all the time.
Get to, like, hang out all day.
Yeah. People coming in, and I'd be like, tell them, hey, Nah, man, that's actually those are rip-offs. Sorry, I can't buy those, you know.
Oh, you're wheeling and dealing in the store too.
Yeah.
Right? Like in my head, that was like back of the house, like they come into like the service entrance, you come in. That's not like the front of the house stuff. Like that's all the nice shoes, the haggling and stuff, right?
No, not like the shoe store portion of Nordstrom. I'm thinking like the collector's edition special sneakers and stuff, like buying and selling the limited run sneakers, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'd probably have like some special X-Men sneakers up on the wall.
Now, here's a question. Are we into like customizing sneakers, or are we just
I was just going to say, both for this topic and just in general, I have experimented with painting sneakers a little bit, and I'm okay at painting leather. I'm familiar with leather paints and, you know, some of these processes, and I do think it would be really cool to do a few sets of like Air Force Ones and do them in like blue and yellow X-Men colors and like some stuff like that. I think I would probably really enjoy doing that, and that could definitely be a part of my store in this whole shindiggery.
Well, you're making me think of like prize support for events.
Oh, okay.
It's like, ooh, okay. Like, what if we like committed to this, where it's like the winner, right? Gets to like choose like it's like their size, right? And then buying that, and then like customizing that for them to win after the fact and stuff, right? So really just trying to think about what would be cool for people.
I get very nervous painting stuff for other people. If I can, because I can kind of lock in and do a balance of like what my skill set can handle versus what I think would look good, right?
Yeah,
and I think it's really easy, kind of pass that marker a bit, but
yeah, but it's also like fun to do interesting projects. So just like push yourself, right?
For sure. All right, well, let's go ahead and dig into what we've been up to in the Marvel Crisis Protocol universe. X-Men still treating you well?
Cyclops is treating me well. We have a team tournament coming up soon. So that'll be in 2 weekends, I think, from now.
Who's on your team?
It is myself and 2 locals that we're playing on our team. And it is like a grab bag.
Do you know your locals' names? I was trying to shout out your locals.
Oh, Jeremy and Sean.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll be playing with Sentinels, X-Men, and a secret for the last one, right? Because you give everything away. But it's a lot of fun.
Is it all mutant theme? Like,
it is not all mutant.
Oh, that would be...
I guess like mutant, anti-mutant, and then spiders are kind of just like hanging out, right?
Yeah, that's where like if you were like, hey, it's Apocalypse, X-Men, and Sentinels, I mean, like, oh my god, Nigel is literally getting excited in the corner hearing this concept.
But what's very exciting? Well, I guess exciting. What was very interesting is that there's very little overlap between our 3 lists.
Okay.
And I think that is more common now than it used to be like 2 or 3 years ago, where it was a lot harder to have like overlap between 3 and everything. Now just so many characters, so many affiliations, you're like, we can actually manage this and not just feel totally relegated.
Yeah, I think 3-person team, it's pretty easy to have 3 different loadouts. I think it's when you hit the 5-player teams where you start having to make really tight sacrifices, and it's really easy for certain affiliations to just not really be in the conversation at all because everybody's after, certain characters, and just sort of clashes a little bit. But do you know what your team name is yet?
That's the one thing we have not decided, and we have to figure it out probably this week as we're going in, because you got to have a whole hype thing, right? Because ridiculous names are the name of the game, but 2, you always gotta have some sort of rhyming or scheme to it. It can't just pick a random name. That's
right. Got to have a pun in there, or a dad joke, or a rhyme.
You gotta go for something, right?
Yeah, or an alliteration at least. You've got to. You got to have some vibe in there.
So I've made some changes to lists, right? And for considerations, because of character overlap, right? Is like the main concern here. One of the characters of contention, 2 of the characters of contention more than anything, is one Psylocke between the 2. And so I've gone back and forth, and I think I just go back to Rogue in the list instead of playing Psylocke. And then the other one was actually Black Cat, who had in the list. I was like, oh, that's okay. Because ultimately I can just put Zemo back into the list because I can't be mad about having Zemo list. And I wanted to attack and reroll. I was like, oh, who cares? But also I lost Gambit. Right? It was one of the other things, right? And I was like, okay, you know what this honestly makes me do? And it's funny it makes me do this out of all things, is that because I lost Psylocke and Gambit, so I need I need an X-Men 3 who has mystic attacks. I put back in Magic.
All right.
So the list now is Cyclops, Colossus, Emma Frost, Rogue, Shang-Chi, Baron Zemo, Domino, X-Men 3, Nebula, Magic.
I mean, there's a lot to like there.
Which is like, there's a lot of fun stuff in there. Yeah. There's a lot of very fast characters. Magic and Emma is like a funny combination between Headmistress and like the limbo. Like all sorts like funny hop stuff starts happening where it's like moving around the board. So like the midline becomes very dangerous for a lot of characters. So I'm trying to like, just threaten lots and lots of things on the game. And just try to trigger lots of really stupid abilities that's going on here. I thought it was great that I managed to get Zemo out of this trade. And I was like, I trade Black Cat for Zemo. I was like, I'm good with this trade. It's okay. Like, I'm not mad about this.
Probably hands down the 2 best 3s in the game. And I don't really think that's a crazy hot take.
Yeah. And then taking I'm a Baron, right? So like dropping, like switching cards around. Is that taking I'm a Baron means I can charge round 1, charge like the bitline. And if he can generate a power, he can start the power train for everyone else. So if he's starting at that center, right, my center, my side of the board, he can at least walk charge round 1, if not charge, depending on where they are at, and start the whole train. So he's a very dangerous first round activation if I don't have priority for my opponent. Because getting power on the list is like, okay, cool, I start the hit and runs, I start the various triggers, it's like, which is what I want to be capitalizing on, is the more power, the better. And capitalizing round 1 is like the best thing you possibly do, right? When you're being aggressive, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, you are playing a faction where you are a little stressed on card space to begin with, so I can see why Zemo wasn't necessarily your first choice. Having the power level of Black Cat, but not really needing a tactics card with her, is kind of a little bit of a relief for the team. But Zemo's really good for you, too.
But yeah. And then I brought in Jody through Limbo as just a backup because I think it's an interesting card to play because there's certain matchups where that card is very good. It's either initiate or to back a character off. It's like, actually, you don't know at this point. Goodbye.
Yep. Now you got me thinking I need to check something. You continue. But your magic talk is inspiring me.
So my tactics cards now are, I'm still Brace Sack. I still believe in Brace, but I could easily see Brace being fallback and having defensive cards and being able to run away. And then I still have 2 of my X-Men, which I'm kind of iffy on this card at this point. Xavier's Dream, First Class, Children Atom, Headmistress, Survival, Trinity Limbo, and I Am Baron.
Yeah.
They're Recal sort of the up for grabs conversation right now between us.
Yeah.
But there's still a couple other cards I could take. The Brace conversation is very interesting now because I still believe in Brace, and I think there's situations where you're taking a throw, taking a character throw, things you just don't want to have happen. Where preventing damage in that situation is very good, but fallback is still a very good card. Like, there's nothing wrong with fallback. It's objectively a bad card. That's what's going on here. I think fallback does better in situations where you're more spread out because you're just trying to get out of attack ranges, so you prevent more follow-ups and stuff. So like your 4s and like your tougher 3s can survive longer in situations. Nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah. Hey, while we're talking about crisis cards, I just wanted to shout, or not crisis, but tactics cards. I just wanted to shout out real quick. The alternate art cards in the new starter sets are great. I love the Juggernaut Brace for Impact card in the X-Men box or in the Mutant box. Oh, so good. And it comes with an instant recovery card, which is also nice. But I ended up preferring the Spider Foes joint effort card over the joint effort in the X-Men box. But they really nailed it on alternate art, key cards in these starter sets. So good.
Something I hope they continue till the end of time is producing more alt cards, even of old cards, because it's just fun to have old versions. I have Odin's Blessing, Like the alternate versions of those is super fun. The all webbed up. There's like 3 versions of all webbed up. I think there's actually 4 versions of all webbed up.
I think there might be 5. There's a
like,
lot. I probably could go through. I'm fairly confident I have 5 versions of all webbed up.
Yeah. And so I think it's very fun to like collect that over time from different boxes and accumulate those and have rare ones and stuff. And on top of like the holographics, right? Yeah. And
I love choosing which brace for which team, right?
Yeah.
You know, because there's like the Rhino brace. There's now a Spider-Man, and I forget who the villain is on that one that came in the Foes box. There's the Spectrum one that I think came in the new core set. You know, there's the classic brace, and there's other ones that I'm not even thinking of off the top of my head. There's a bunch of them, but I love picking which one, you know. Groot and Punisher is on the OG classic one, but I love picking, which brace do I want with this team? Which one matches the feel of this team?
My favorite is Recal, and I prefer the Domino one.
Okay.
Right, because she's rolling the dice and playing craps, which is like very fun.
Very you as well.
Yeah. I think there's at least 2. I think there might be a 3rd recast. So it's like a very fun card to go through. But like, I just like alt stuff, and I think this is very interesting to play cards. Yeah. It's like a sick flex, right?
You just got me thinking about it. You were talking about the card, and I just kept picturing the Juggernaut brace card in my head, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah, and I will leave the Crisis of Secrets now, but we are playing very centrally focused because we're aiming for fights. We're trying to get beams. We're trying to get X-Wing 3 triggers. Like, we're just having the scrum shortened down to have as many triggers as possible to see what cool stuff happens and throw people around, do it to each other if they're training people. Which is kind of where the list is at right now. It's just like a hard scrum and going through. Which like Shang-Chi does well on that list. He's like, oh, I'm going to push you. I'm going to stagger you. I'm going to have some fun. You're like, I love you, buddy. You're so good.
You know, now Rogue probably is also a little bit better with the new terrain rules. Just being that she's probably going to have more likely to have terrain within range 2, which was sometimes her problem. Where if she, you know, she'd throw like a piece of terrain and then she just wouldn't have anything else nearby.
It's just, I can't be mad about meat absorption. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like, I just can't. I can't be angry with that. So I'm like, I'm just back on Rogue. It's totally fine. Yeah. And she's super tough, so I can't be angry. Everything else is just sort of shooting the gun and stuff and trying to throw people around. And she still has the spender to throw people away. And she's uppercuts everyone out. So it's like, it's fine. She'll figure it out.
That's how she rolls.
Yeah.
Are you thinking that you will still be playing X-Men at Adepticon, or are you switching before Adepticon?
That is an interesting question. I traditionally would switch after CarlCon, because it would be the next major event, and it has been several months now that I've playing Cyclops, which is usually the marker. I try to get the Longshanks badge before switching over. I don't know how many games I have, but CarlCon will be quite a few. Probably at least 4, potentially 5.
So
that probably gets me a good amount, and I'm pretty sure I've played an event with him before.
Well, and you're going to have this team event, right?
That you'll have that as well. There. Okay,
you know.
I probably hit that. So I guess I would have to switch. I hadn't even.
So we're going to be building a new roster for you soon. Crazy.
Yeah, I guess we will be.
Yeah. It feels like it was just yesterday. We were working on your X-Men and you were moving on from Convocation.
Yeah, but that was October. Like that was a while ago now. So it has actually been a while. So yes, we will have to consider things is what I'm trying to say.
Nice.
Where have you been at?
So I busted out Blue Marvel and Spectrum.
And new goodies.
Yeah. I just, to be entirely honest with you, I was not excited about them on the surface level.
Okay.
But AMG sent boxes, and I was like, let me try out the new stuff, right? I'm always excited to like paint some stuff. So arrived, started painting them, and tried them out. And I was blown away by how much fun I was having playing that particular leadership. It reminded me of everything that I loved about playing Inhumans, right? I've been a long time. I've thought that the playing Black Bolt was just a lot of fun. And this, while it's different, it's not something that you have quite as much control over, but you can also potentially do it on your opponent's turns. And I love how it makes me feel, where even if I'm taking a hit, I'm like, ooh, well, if I take a hit, I could potentially be giving a power to a key character to make a next activation better. And I just love the way that it makes my brain work. And I was finding like, oh man, I am really enjoying playing this leadership. And playing Blue Marvel was certainly fun. I came up with a lot of cool activations in general with him. Who doesn't like counting skulls? And so it just clicked for me more than I expected that it would. And because it's something new, so it also gives us fresh content, that I was like, I think I want to dig into these guys more. Which, like I said, it was not on my radar. I wasn't telling you, oh man, I'm excited about Spectrum and Blue Marvel. I was kind of like, whatever.
Yeah.
But
they're also like your favorite characters necessarily. Like Blue Marvel has been around, but he's not like an all-star.
I do like Spectrum. I like Monica Rambeau. I liked her in let's see. She was in Captain Marvel, which was solid. That was a little before she was getting any powers. But then she started getting powers in the WandaVision. WandaVision. Yeah.
Right. Like at the end, she basically got her powers because of Wanda, essentially.
Yeah. And so that kind of like starting to weave in, was really kind of enjoying that direction. I do like her character, but I wouldn't necessarily say she's one of my favorite characters. I know almost nothing about Blue Marvel.
He very, very has been around for a while, but I think he's a very boring character. Generically powerful character is what he is.
Yes. But then looking at the affiliation list, which isn't overtly powerful, but it has some just general interesting characters. And this was kind of the problem that I had with Inhumans for quite a while, is that I just didn't feel list building was that interesting, right? Because a lot of time you end up playing it at 17. And so most of the time you're playing, Black Bolt, a couple of your affiliated 3s, and then what are the best splashes, And a lot of time 3s, you really could only work in 4s when you were like playing 18, or like if you ended up with a 2, but it never felt like I got to make very many interesting decisions in the list building step. And so this is kind of a lot of what I liked about Inhumans, but with more potential list building, because they have an affiliated 2, and I think Black Widow is better in this meta than she potentially has been in quite a while. And so getting a break from Toad and Bullseye and such to play a bit more of her, I'm definitely down for. But yeah, I like Iron Man. I like Sam Wilson. Luke Cage, I could kind of take or leave. And I have been.
He's actually a trap in this list. I think he's actually a trap. Like it sounds good, and you're like, no, don't take it.
I think there's situations where I do, but he's just not one that I'm like super excited about. But I like each of these characters are just very different, right? You could say that, both Sam and Iron Man are these kind of like ranged attackers, but Sam's got all the mobility, but not as much like upper punch. And Iron Man's a little bit more of a turret, but is tankier. But I like both of them for different reasons. So I like that flexibility. Luke Cage may still fit, say I got like inhuman weaponry or something. I'm like, I need to just have someone who can go grab something on a midline. So having those interesting decisions, I would definitely be interested in trying Black Panther, Chosen of Bast. He's a character that I've wanted to put on the table, so it's an excuse to paint him.
Boy. Very good.
And so, just like in general, I'm looking at the list and going, there's a lot of interesting things to build here. And even though it's a power handout leadership, because you're also you're thinking about multiple directions. You're like characters who can build power to be able to hand it out. You think about characters who can spend the power if they get it. Also, the characters that can do both, right? I keep coming back to, I really want to try Prowler in the list, is one of the things. I've only played with the affiliated characters so far, but Prowler, I was thinking about just the nature of him being able to walk up, grab an extract, because you generally want to grab an extract with your first activation. But then him grabbing an extract means that he gets a power which he could deny himself and give to someone else to turn on something else immediately. And so there's that kind of dynamics, but he also can spend a bunch of power. If other people can hand him power to turn on charges, to turn on his really good spender. And he still, now I'm forgetting, I'm pretty sure his ranged attack is a gainer, but let me make sure.
That feels true.
Yeah. I was pretty sure it was. Prowler! Yes, it is indeed a gainer. So he's got like kind of all of the tools. He's got the big spike potential where if Spectrum gives him more dice, right? And he's rolling 7 dice builders, or he just needs to like generate a power to give to someone else. There's a lot of interesting kind of just shenanigans there. So I want to try that, but really, I'm just hyped for them in general. I think it was a lot of fun to play. I was enjoying my games with foes. Like Carnage was a lot of fun. Yeah. But this has probably been the most excited I've been about a list in quite a while.
I think the affiliation list is a lot of very fun models that people are very excited to play. I don't think there's any bad models on the list.
Even Steve Rogers, Captain America, is kind of an interesting 4.
He spends power well. He actually spends power very well. That's sort of like the issue with him, was generating the power to do the advance, to get into the throw, and do all the tricks. Like, well, if he can get range to just double throw every round, like, that's not bad in terms of generating power and getting everyone else to go and kind of happening.
Well, also, his kind of like enhanced damage is like a reroll any, but he can only use it once per turn. So it synergizes really well with the bonus dice from Spectrum. Yeah. The one spot that I liked him before was when I was playing Shield Thanos, because I noticed that handing him 2 more dice was a big deal. And
yes, that triggers so
really, yeah. It really helped with the triggers, helped with like how just kind of turning all of his mechanics on. And so I don't know how much I would play him, but I still think it's a fine inclusion.
Yeah, I think there's that. There's also the Blue Marvel, right? Like rerolls where like if you take that both online, he can roll himself, and then the second attack, Blue Marvel can reroll. Like depending on what's going on, you decide which one has skulls and whatnot. And it's like it has the potential to generate a lot of attacks and a lot of power, right?
Indeed.
From that.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's pushing stuff around, which is what you want, right? Is characters who can generate more attacks, like Sam Wilson, who can generate power, like Sam Wilson, and pass things out are very good in this list, like Sam Wilson.
Yes. Sam Wilson was an absolute blast to play, because I just felt like I always had power for his things, and then I was always in this decision of, do I want to move Spectrum onto a point, right? Because he's going to move and grab an objective. Do I want him to charge over here? It just felt like I had a ton of decision points with him, which I love. The more that there's not like a one straightforward, obvious play, and the more that I get to make some subtle choices, the more I love it. But Sam, so good.
I think characters that have 2 cost superpowers, like Sam, right, are just like...
He's only got 3 of them.
Yeah, just tons of things to do. Airlift's so good in this one. You can airlift a bunch of characters around because they're small. Like, they look big, but they're not that big. It's so good. Right. 2, I am so glad that Tony is back. OG Iron Man is a very good character, and everyone just like forgot about this guy. He just got passed by, but there's nothing wrong with this guy. There's everything wrong with OG Iron Man.
So, Danny, after we recorded last week, I don't know if you remember, but I have spent months wondering where the fuck my Stark Armory card is and my Helios Laser card. I had brought all of this stuff to work right as I was coming back to MCP, and I was building Apocalypse lists, and I think I was also building Shield lists, and I was contemplating whether or not Iron Man was going to go into the Apocalypse list as a Splash 3. And I decided against it, and I remember setting aside Iron Man in those cards, and then I could not find the Stark Armory card or the Helios laser card for the life of me. I was searching all over the place. I was going through all of my MCP stuff over and over and over again, searched around my desk at work, could not find it. I was getting out cards for this list, and I found them, and I felt so ridiculously stupid.
It happens. It happens.
Because I remembered thinking, I'm going to put this in a spot where I don't lose these cards because they're not easily replaceable. And I just stuck them in the back of Tony's card. Right? Because I have them in hard sleeves.
You can't lose the card. Duh.
Right. The thing is because I couldn't find the Stark Armory card or the Helios laser card, I kept not putting him in lists. So I never had his card with me to flip over because he got dazed to actually see where the cards were. And so, oh man, your co-host, not the smartest at times.
The most big brain of big brain moves.
But
smart at yourself.
It was also speaking to me like, hey, you have been wanting to play Iron Man. You were just not playing Iron Man because you didn't know where these cards were. And now I do. And so more Iron Man hype.
He's just so good in this list, right? Yeah. Like his whole thing is just standing around. You have a bunch of characters that can add dice. He can add dice. You're like, you rolls. You're like, let's go for it. Let's just shoot guns. Range 4. You're like, they have to approach you. Like if you start thinking like, okay, I'm grabbing points. You're approaching me. I'm shooting all these guns at you. And you're just getting like wilted down. Just like over the course, you're like, yeah, I can't walk up to you. You're like, nope. If you try, I'm just going to blow everything up. Good luck.
Well, also, just in general, him being able to like, I pass him a power, which can then turn on his 6 dice attack, and then he makes another 6 dice attack. And if either of these spike, he's then safe to hand out power to other people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, I've had absolute turns where Iron Man would be at 10 power, and I can't spend this.
Yeah. What am I going to do?
I was like, no, I end the power with a round of power, because the second attack, I was like, I can't do, he doesn't throw, he can't, I was like, I guess he just wastes the power. Now, excellent, right? Yeah, somewhere to bank some stuff.
Yeah, you feel so economical, but... So anyway, I want your help solidifying a list. I really just threw together some characters for a game. And so I want to refine this list a little bit. Do you want to start with characters or do you want to start with crisis cards?
I think in this situation, I want to start with characters.
Okay.
Because I feel like we have a lot of conversations about characters here. And I guess, who are your non-negotiables? Like, they're in no matter what, right?
I mean, I'm not sure there's a bunch of non-negotiables. Obviously, I'm going to play Spectrum.
Yeah.
And I think Black Widow is an obvious fit to have a 2 threat. And then I think I would really like to play Sam and Iron Man.
Yeah.
And then
I agree with that.
I'm leaning towards including Luke Cage and including Blue Marvel. Even they're not as necessarily like every game pieces, but things that I would like to try more and see how I feel about them in the list. I'm not sure I don't think I want Captain Marvel. And I don't think that I'm going to start off playing She-Hulk. Not that I think She-Hulk can necessarily be bad in the list, but we know she's getting changed. And so I don't really want to mess around with her a whole bunch. Yeah. They announced she's getting some sort of change and at least becoming like 10-10 or something, like having a
backside. Yeah.
Right. We don't know if anything else is changing, but I think they said that on one of the podcasts. And so I'm not going to immediately include her and Steve Rogers, Captain America. If we really felt like he was a perfect fit, sure, but I'm not like ecstatic about him. So my like rough of the affiliated characters is kind of those 6, right? Spectrum, Blue Marvel, Black Widow, and those 3 threes. Black Panther, Chosen of Bast, might rotate in or out, depending on what key characters I want to test out in kind of some unaffiliated slots.
I'd agree. I feel like a lot of times you end up taking Bast just because he's relatively fast. right, a lot of points. So if you're playing spread secures, he can kind of just like run around and just do his thing, which is his whole job, is just running around.
I do like that he has a little action economy with his pounce.
Yeah. So like he can move very quickly. Like I've seen that dude's like just cross the board, like, oh yeah, I can't stop him. Like, nope, he's gone. Like, yep, he's gone.
I would really like to include some other characters with action economy specifically, because especially if I'm playing in a game where I have Blue Marvel and Spectrum, I'm a little limited, and so I would want to make sure. And that's part of the reason why I like Sam a lot. But I would definitely be looking at some affiliated characters that do have some of that. But
here's a question.
Do you have... Sure.
When designing lists, do you think about central grabs?
Yes and no. It's not critical to me.
Yeah. Because right now we technically don't have a center grab. Like, we can throw Iron Man. We can throw someone who's relatively safe. Like, Luke, Iron Man are easy to throw to the center and be like, they're probably fine. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's certainly a potential where if I put Luke or Iron Man in the middle and it looks like they're starting to gear up to attack him, it's not difficult to end up with a power on Sam and, like, walk up and, like, teleport them backwards. Can be a thing as well.
Yeah.
So there's some plays there.
So there's some plays there. And that's more of what I was thinking is, like, I consider centerline grabs, or what I'm going to do if I have prio, right? If I unexpectedly have prio and the center is like, well, I can't leave the center because I'm just like giving it up now. So like I need to do something, but staying in the center doesn't feel good either. Which is why I have like, to me, my X-Men and other cards where it's like, it had missions where it's like, oh, like there's still a plan if something goes awry. And I'm like, oh, well, I need to grab this and it's not super safe. There's still a way to recover from that situation.
Yeah. I mean, I was definitely considering one of the possible build directions was to play Black Cat and not Amazing Spider-Man, but Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It'd be super easy to flex them in and would give me the option of a midline grab. And the list, one of the nice things about the list is that it is a little tactics card flexible. And so I'm really can lean into characters who have special tactics cards, because I think Spectrum's card is totally solid, and I think Blue Marvel's card is totally solid, but it's not, I don't think there's anything that's a mandatory, you have to take this. I think you get to like a lot of choices about which cards.
Yeah, and I think these are very flexible cards, which is good, but it doesn't feel like they're, like you said, there aren't any mandatories.
Yes.
Where it's like, if you're not taking this card, it's like very silly of you.
Yeah. I think a big question that I was kind of hitting, like kind of first off, is, am I building more of an offensive list, or am I building more of a stealing and throwing kind of list? Or am I intentionally trying to build something mid-range that's trying to like kind of do a good amount of both? And that part I'm really not sure of. I don't have enough games with them to kind of know which way they should lean. And so I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe I lean mid-range to start just so that I can kind of feel it out a little bit. I don't know. Do you have thoughts there?
I'm not actually sure you're mid-range. I think you're actually a long-range team. Almost every character you have on your list so far.
Well, what I mean by mid-range is a mixture of attack and like displacement steal stuff, not speed. I'm not talking mid-range in a speed sense.
Oh, no. I meant in a attack range sense. Like, you have a lot of range 4, Spectrum has her beam 4. Both Captain Americas have range 4 throws. Like, you have a lot of range 4s. And range 4 is like the band where you start scaring people. Like, if Iron Man, you're like, oh,
agree the list is fast and fairly long range. What I meant by mid-range was kind of more in like the old MTG sense of, you're not playing super into the control side. You're not playing super into the aggro side. You're kind of in this more middle ground, kind of doing a mixture of both.
I
mean, Spectrum
I sort of feel
like she's offensive.
Yeah, like the one thing the list, like the core characters are missing is there's not a lot of innate action economy outside of Sam. Right, there's not a lot of character places, not a charges. You don't have a lot of that.
I totally
But just considering like what your core characters have, and so I feel like you want to be pulling people into the pocket, right? Like, you want to be hoodwinking people or convince people to come into your guns and be like, okay, well, I'm just going to shoot you down now. Like, whatever. And that's where, like, the Iron Man, Luke, like, your damage reduction characters are. We're relatively tough. We can take a punch or two, right? And still back away and get out. Back into the pocket where the range 4 guns can like, back you up and keep you safe. Which later, I'm thinking about this for the scenario conversation later. I was like, okay, if this is like the backup plan of how we're going to play this. So character-wise, we need people who are good at picking stuff up, is what I'm thinking then. Relatively good at picking stuff up that can... I'm thinking of diving opponents' tokens, for the record. When I say good at picking stuff up, let's be very clear what I mean here. Yeah. This is what I mean, like your lizards, your beasts, like you're starting like really funny about stuff. You're like, oh, watch this. Clap. And you're like, wait, I didn't expect that. Excellence. Right?
But the interesting thing there is as soon as you start going that direction, right, you're kind of also still getting away where like more of the list doesn't have action economy.
Yes and no. So this is why I like log movers and like that sort of like vector here is trying to pick weaker sides. This is why I like fallback, right? Where it's like, hey, I'm going to play aggressively, then continue falling back into my characters to defend this thing I've now stolen from you. Now you have to invest resources, usually more than you want to, right, into catching this character who is clearly just backing away from you, doesn't want to engage at all. So I was actually thinking of a situation, like in my head, you don't have priority, right? And if you just let them play their game plan, they're going to go up on points. So you have to somehow engineer a situation where you're either KOing a character, aggressive plan, right? Very quick, dazing character, round one, or you're trying to aggressively steal a point they didn't expect. And now they have to deal with punching you. And you're like, that's fine. Like, I can deal with that. Like, I can figure that plan out.
I will say one direction that I'm leaning after trying them out is it reminds me a little bit of playing Shield, like kind of like the Vince Alfredo style Shield, where you're just kind of playing a lot of value characters who get good work done. And then in a weird way, Spectrum can like amplify them. And then you have just like the power economy, just kind of making everybody feel a little above their weight class, maybe even a little bit like Apocalypse does, but just in a very different way, where I am thinking, my gut is that I want to play a lot of 3s.
Yes.
And so I was
two 5s between Marvel and Spectrum. So like you need to, we're trying to balance out double 5. You need 3s and 2s.
Yeah. My first thought is I don't even know how often I'm going to play Blue Marvel. I think put him in for specific matchups if there's something where I feel like he's really impactful. But my first instinct is play a lot of 3s. Maybe so. Like, I would like to play Echo a little bit more. So there's obviously a conversation about putting in Echo and Zemo and go, hey, I'm going to have 3-threat, heavy damage, charging units that get a lot out of the bonus power, but can also generate more power to pass back to the other characters. And I do feel like I probably want a couple of like really powerful 4-threat splashes to kind of play around with like the math. So if I'm at 17, right, if I want to go 4-3-3 affiliated and then 3-4 unaffiliated, like who's the best kind of splashes there? I'm certainly considering Prowler, at least to try it out and see how some of that mechanic works. I was also thinking when you were talking about magic, it didn't hit me until when you were talking about magic, I remembered that Spectrum and Blue Marvel are both Incinerate immune.
Yeah.
And so she can journey to Limbo them.
Oh yeah,
without penalty, and so I'm like, so having that option to either displace someone, set someone up for pain, or get Blue Marvel or Spectrum back into a key location without consequence.
I think this is sort of like the 3D thinking you want when you're thinking about playing an affiliation, right? That hasn't been explored a lot. Is like, what is the weird janky stuff you can pull, right? And does it actually work the way you believe it's going to? Right? Like, the idea of using Limbo Step, using Attack this card, not the way you traditionally use it, right? Like, we're actually using it defensively. Most people would be like, oh, I'm going to pull this character in, yank them in, and try to gank them. It's like, no, actually, I'm going to pull my character out of a dangerous situation. You're like, oh, I didn't expect you to do that. Like, excellent. I want you to continue saying that during this game.
Yeah, so I don't know, like, so I guess that'd be the first question. Do you think she competes for one of my unaffiliated 3-threat spots, right? She's competing with, like, Echo and Zemo. But do you think it's worth putting her in for something like that? Because obviously she's still also competing with, Black Cat,
she does have
Spectacular
Yeah,
Spider.
she has a range 4 gun. She does have the she's that. I do like the teleport in general.
She's got good action economy.
Yeah, the self place is just so good.
Yeah,
right, in terms of running around. The re-rolls, right, from Blue Marvel are kind of interesting in the sense that depending if she's doing Spender or not, like things can get like buck wild with her. Like
Magic Spender, the Magic Spender with Spectrum bonus dice could also be like, a little nutty. I'm not sure if it's more nutty than Echo or Zemo getting bonus dice.
But going down this road is that we had 4 slots, and you can absolutely fit Zemo, Echo, and Magic here as 3/3s, and just have like pure death as your options. You're essentially comboing based on what you think is going to happen here.
Okay.
I've softened on Magic just because of the typing is so good.
Yeah.
So that Spender, it's hard to argue that Spender.
Yeah. All right. Well, before this episode gets too long, do you have thoughts on which 4 or 4s to fit in? I mean, obviously, I could go Shang-Chi. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm super excited for the Shang-Chi spot, but I'm open to thoughts here. Like, I wouldn't mind trying out new Miles some more, just to like put 4-threat Miles on the table a little more. I'm not opposed to playing 3-threat Miles. Love that boy too. Yeah. And Yondu.
Characters that want an extra power. And again, if you're doubling down on this range 4 stuff, you want characters that either have... I guess think about it this way. The reason why you would say yes to Miles, or a character like Miles, I should say, is that you don't have a lot of self-places. Yeah. Right? Like, you don't have a lot of ways to move yourself out of just physically moving your character. So I give a couple charges going through there. So having a character like Miles, I can help that. Flip side is that Yondu is another just long-range gun where you're like, this character's going to die. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. You can't get away from me fast enough. Like, goodbye.
And that boy's now 7-6 health,
Yeah, like, it's just hard to get
ridiculous.
But
Fury's an option too. Fury with the bonus health, and I can play his I could play reposition easily. Yeah.
It's just like an interesting place to be playing Fury. Almost shield, but not quite.
That is one of my I would like to eventually at least take the roster a dual affiliation direction, which may not be something we can figure out today.
I feel like the default is going to be regular Avengers, Mighty Avengers. It's like sort of like
boring.
Like, sure.
I want something different, like considerably different, if possible. Yes. All right. Well,
I think what your includes. That's where you sort of lean, like the types of characters you want, lean you toward the other affiliation. That's where the duel comes in and has overlap.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is the potential that I think being able to switch and play Nick Fury would be very interesting. And then it would also potentially mean that maybe I include Namor, which does give me that kind of midline grab that you were talking about.
And maybe you drop Marvel. Right at that point, you just play Namor as the other 5, and so that's your 2 5s. Like, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so that's certainly a potential direction, but I'm trying to keep it open. What I want that other affiliation to be. But let's talk crisis cards for at least a hot minute. It's only starting place. I want to play both of the new ones. So far, I'm liking both of them a lot, and I don't think there's any reason for these lists to not potentially play those.
I think with guns, you can babysit the prisoners.
Yeah.
Because essentially you're just sitting next to it and just shooting inward and just picking up whenever you activate.
Yeah.
And just causing a ruckus. So I think that part is fine. The only problem with the other new one is the fact that things can turn on and off. So you have to rotate potentially. And so you don't have that sort of like leans your other characters having very strong rotation potential.
Yes, that is definitely true.
To offset that. That's not a problem. That's just more of an awareness of like how the list works.
Yes. I tried Deadline with it as well, and I think this list can absolutely play at 16 and probably play at 16 better than a lot of teams, right? Because
I think 2 5s, 2 3s. Oh, baby, you can get so spicy.
But I just think like being able to start with Spectrum, my preferred 3 threat, which could be Sam, could be Iron Man, could be Cage, right, and Widow, and then being able to splash Echo Zemo or Magic Echo or whatever it is. I think I'm comfortable playing at 16, whereas other people would be like, "Oh God, no." And so
16 is so fun. Actually, I really enjoy 16.
I'm in the camp of get rid of 16, but I just think at least I could use some more games on Deadline just in general, and I don't think this list is scared of it.
Yeah. I think 16 is sort of the bare minimum you need to have some interesting models and combinations.
Yeah. There's also a conversation then, like if I'm considering playing at Deadline, then maybe there is a world where I consider splashing Bill or even Spider-Man Noir to have like some damage reduction to interact with Deadline.
I was thinking of Bill earlier. The only issue with Bill sometimes is the damage output.
Yeah,
that hammer can just be so hit or miss. With 5 dice, you're like, sometimes it hits, sometimes it fails. And like you have Spectrum, like
around
Zemo,
Spectrum,
it's like, it's like Spectrum's like it's like how much you want to invest in these other characters. Where in my head, these other characters are mostly self-sufficient and sort of like doing their own game. Like the Zemo thing, like Zemo doesn't need help. Like Zemo likes help, sure, but like most of the time, once Zemo gets the power to, like he's fine. Like he's just doing his own thing most of the game.
Do you think it's worth considering Spider-Woman? I mean,
I'm a Jessica Drew stance.
But remembering that she has the ability to stun before damage, and so
it's so good.
Hit someone and like give her 2 more dice, so she's rolling 7 dice stun, and so that increases the odds of getting the wild and increases the damage.
You can give her power to interrogate after the fact. People don't think you can interrogate. Give her a 3rd power, she can interrogate. You're like, oh, you're stuck. You're like, yep, didn't see that one coming.
Lots of interesting stuff there. All right, well, where else should I take the crisis cards to start?
I guess this is the question: is are you trying to fight or are you not trying to fight? We're just trying to use the gun, because if we're trying to use the guns and we're standing back, I think you want these. I think you want like Madman and Infinity, and you're hanging.
I mean, I think I'm fine with that. Yeah,
and that you have tons and tons of range 4 guns. You have pushes. You have all sorts of fun stuff. You're like, I'm going to hang back here. Like, it's fine. So I think you're kind of relatively standing around shooting inward. I don't think you really want like intrusions or like meteors where you're like dead straight in the center. And like you could use Luke Cage and everything, but I don't think it's like your favorite game plan necessarily.
I agree. I don't think I want to lean towards those.
So mostly spread. I prefer the box shapes. I guess the question is, would you be playing Wedding Party or not?
I don't think so. I might consider playing Scoundrels though.
Yeah, Scoundrels.
I think I could.
I
think I could also lean into it a little bit, especially if I'm. Yondu ignores cover, right? I'm pretty sure his attack. Cover. Yeah. So especially if I'm kind of leaning that particular direction, there, and I have Sam, right? I could definitely be playing some characters who.
Oh, absolutely! Like Scoundrels is amazing when you ignore cover and they can't.
Yeah.
You're like, this is fun. Throw the shield around.
Definitely options there. So I mean that gives me a starting point for secures, right? If I wanted to try the new one, Deadline, Infinity, Madmen, and Scoundrels. It's a very weird mix, but
which is good. Like I think having weird mixes is very interesting right now because it causes your opponent to really have to think about which one they want.
Yes,
which is very important right now, extremely important.
Yep.
Extracts. I think this is like the interesting conversation here is what to do about extracts. Yeah, I don't think you want the 3s. Like, I don't necessarily think you want Legacy Virus.
I'm with you.
The 4s feel safe, I think you might actually want hammers.
I mean,
you
my
might actually
instinct
be
with
hammer
hammers
safe for once. I know it's normally a trap, right? But the thing is, you have so many guns. You have so many characters with guns, and you have multiple damage reduction characters. And when you're grabbing hammers, you want people who are relatively safe at grabbing hammers because they're very alive targets. And with hammers, you want people who ready to charge, Zemo, and Sam, or you have range 4 guns, like the plethora of range 4 guns you have.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I want to immediately put in hammers. Like, maybe we consider some of the other ones and then decide from there.
I do not think you are a spider-infected team, because I think the pushes are bad.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But it's just bad for your team.
I don't think I'm a Terrigen team either.
No. It's too much on the center. You don't have enough to divvy that up. What would be another one that you may like?
Do you think I'm an Inhumans deploy advanced weaponry? Having 4 things on the midline does potentially mean I get to shoot it. Like, it's hard for them not to give me someone to shoot at.
You should. In most scenarios, you should be able to walk, pick up, and shoot. You should be able to walk and either stand and shoot or walk and pick up and shoot.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a weird crisis combination, like a D and something else that's too wide for you to shoot.
But at least it's an option. And there's not a lot of teams that feel like overtly good at it. Yeah. I mean, and I can definitely play an unexpected guests, scrolls, or scientific samples. I think all of those are potentially reasonable for me.
Yeah, I think scrolls is very safe for you. You have a lot of for his goals. It's just kind of like you just body people and you don't care.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I could just start with some of the basic stuff. I don't necessarily feel like I'm immediately a Senators team.
I think Senators is fun. And I think you have a list where you have a lot of fun tricks to pull out on people. But the trap there is that you potentially don't have a lot of ways to start moving if you get locked down a bit. So if they have ways to slow you down, like playing as webs or something, then you're kind of like stuck very quickly. Yeah. I guess that's the other consideration, is that you don't have a lot of innate ways of getting rid of conditions. So if there's like apocalypse is kind of a problem. If you start to the pestilent bomb stuff, and you're having to deal with this on your big characters. So just things to be aware of, right?
Thought with scientific samples. Once per turn, when a character holding a sample rolls dice, after the effect is resolved, if the roll contained one or more skull result, that character gains
He's
power.
happy about it. Yeah.
Right? But I can always hand that power to anyone.
Correct. Is the power during your turn?
Yes. It's power during a turn.
Yeah. It gets... I guess you can just keep shuffling that around, too. Because you're defensively, too. Yeah.
Right. You shoot me, I roll a skull. Even if I block everything, I potentially gain a power and just hand it to someone else. So I think I like samples. I think samples.
So it feels like an innate combo, right? So
yes,
something you should be doing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that feels like a solid set, like the test.
Okay. All right. So I have some baseline plans to play around with. In the first game I played, which by the way, the video should already be out. At the point that the point you're listening to this episode or watching this episode. By the way, if you are watching, I appreciate the YouTube watch time. It is something that it helps me a lot at the moment. But I forgot where I was going with this whole thought. We were just talking about what I was trying in the first game. Oh, I put in Helios Laser, and I found that I was spending the power too much to really make use of Helios Laser. So I think this may be a list that I lean towards either Stark Armory or Ricochet Blast. I think the ability to potentially have an 11 dice Ricochet Blast reroll any because of Spectrum and Iron Man boost.
One sounds fun, but Stark Armory could be insane in this list. Especially like Zemo, and you're like, actually, you're going to die. I'm going to just shoot you with this gun.
Yeah.
And you're going to explode now.
I may have room for both of them in the roster, and I can potentially play around with both. Like, I'm not...
Because you're like range 4 guns, man.
Yeah.
You do a lot of work there. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing wrong there.
Yeah, definitely a lot to like. Yeah, so yeah, I think I'm going to need to refine this a bit, play around with it, but I'm excited to dig into it. I think my gut is that Spectrum is both good and a lot of fun. I could see her breaking into the Adepticon meta.
I think she definitely will at that point.
Yeah.
The affiliation list alone is very fun. It has a lot of like, cool characters to interact with. It is going to be interesting how they develop this out, or if this will be sort of like a set, this is just what the small group is, as like an offshoot sort of thing, if they'll do more of these sort of like smaller groups like this.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer it. I like a little bit of interesting choices. Often I shy away from building Avengers lists just because there's so many top tier characters that it just doesn't feel super interesting building the lists.
Yeah. This is a very interesting subset to be, because like being a Mighty Avenger, I mean, you can't play Avengers Assemble.
Yes,
right?
that's
like,
true.
There are cards
I think this list would be crap.
It's very interesting.
If I got Avengers Assemble. If I got Avengers Assemble, I think it would be boring.
So yeah, I think it's very interesting to play with this. I'm excited for new things, right? And as you mentioned, we'll be gearing up for Adepticon soon. So if you haven't bought your tickets, please do so. So I think where we're going from here, right, is playing some games for the next couple weeks, and then I will need to think about where we're going from here, actually, and what I'm going to be playing soon.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, I'm excited to get a little bit of stuff to paint up. I'm excited to do more of the MCP videos. Oh, also, by the way, shout out the Spider Foes and versus X-Men game has been doing very well with. Nice. With, you know, just general watch time and such. And so that's really encouraging. And that's telling me, hey, people want this kind of stuff. And so that's just been really encouraging. So if you're listening to this and you watched the videos on YouTube, just know I'm kind of paying attention. I'm trying to get a feel for what do people want to see.
Yeah,
and
absolutely
having people watch the stuff means like, oh, and they're like not just watching 5 minutes of it, they're watching a considerable amount of the game. And I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, I should definitely do these. So that's exciting. So I appreciate you. You probably watched, knowing you. You're such a watcher.
It is. Get really voyeuristic about it.
Danny, voyeur.
That said, is there anything else you want to cover?
No, I think we can close out there. I will say I am so sad I messed up my own move, throw in the game.
Ooh. Yeah, okay.
It was going to be reverse order. It was going to be like a throw and then double move, with also like doing a bunch of healing. And then I just forgot to throw first. And so I just want to confess that I messed up my own cool move, throw. And I'm sorry, Danny.
It happens to the best of us.
Can you forgive me?
I will try.
One day. Nigel, our captain, has definitely not forgiven me, but...
Well, that was obvious, but
yeah,
I mean, that's just for the memes, though.
For the memes. All right, we'll close out there. Later, nerds.
What would you prefer? Yellow spandex